С днем рождения.
Спасибо. А Маша где?
Скоро будет.
The Muse, this was beautiful. I loved the full journey that you went on. I really liked that they started off like with the dad and then it shifted to the son, the kind of focus, because when I initially started I really thought that it was just going to be about the dad, but you got enough background that then you're like more invested, because you obviously like see this really strained relationship between the father and son, but you know something's going on with the dad like medically, so you want them like as like human beings, like you want them to like come to a resolution, and so you're kind of in the very beginning like that's what you're rooting for, and then it just progresses and then the accident happens and you're like, oh shit, like this whole thing shifts. And they were able to like work you through these kind of different stages and really walk you through like with him, with the son, and with what he was going through. And you get, I loved the moments that they did with like the flashback memory. I thought it like actually worked really well from a grieving perspective, especially because he was still in the house that he shared. And so you do get hit with these kind of moments and these flashbacks when you're in the initial, when you're in any kind of stage of grieving, but especially in the beginning, you want to live in that dream, you want to live in, you know, those moments. So they did such a good job of really showing that and like really getting that across in a believable way. And then like I said, just kind of the full journey that you went on was really well done, and I really appreciated it.
The Muse. This was a brilliantly shot film, just excellent framing and pacing throughout. I thought this idea of our lead living in the past and living in the future that could have been, so that his present was neglected. And how can you create when not living in the present? Just seeing how people in our lives can haunt us, both those alive and those not alive, and how their words can permeate through our day, or how those memories can linger, and it can absolutely freeze us and hold us back, or it can propel us forward. And we got to see both of those effects on him and kind of navigate what is reality and what is just a tortured mind and his projections. And it was wonderful to see how that permeated through the creative process as well. But yeah, I loved the cinematography and the pacing, and it kept me wrapped up in this love. You could see that very vital, strong, important love he had for his partner who passed. The roller coaster also on the additional side of the torment of his father and of not feeling enough, and that push and pull between the two. And it all felt very real because it was acted excellently by all involved. I was actually really taken by the depth that they were willing to go to.
This is regarding the alternative short, The Muse. Wow, so well done. I don't know that I can do it justice by, these comments, because just I really, really loved this. It flew by for me. Didn't even feel like the length that it was. Great opening shots in the stairwell as well. I really liked the use of colors. Very nice music, great acting, great cinematography, great drone shot overhead. You know, it's showing the scenery, the cars, the snow, and the visions of her that he was having were just so well done. And then, you know, without the pills, how he kind of leaned into the visions rather than thinking they were a bad thing and that he needed to drown them out with the pills was super cool. And honestly, the twist was really well done, because I think I thought about it later on, but really it wasn't something I really thought about too much as far as the father as well. Yeah, when he said, when he was coughing and stuff like that, I started wondering, but the twist, it wasn't super obvious to me. I thought it was really well done. This line that I really, really liked was the line where he says, "This book isn't about your intentions, it's my perspective," which I think is huge. A huge issue a lot of us have with our parents or other people in our lives is exactly written in that line. And there was another thing I wrote. There was a cool shot, just very well done when the dad was dead. And I was like, when did that happen? And then you answered that question with the 2 weeks comment. So yeah, because when he was a vision, I was like, God, how long was he a vision for? It was really cool. Just, I really, really liked it. There were a lot of really great moments with the camera work, and the moments with the main actor alone, his character just alone in the house. Just really, honestly, these actors were really great too. Just really well done, especially the lead. It was so great. The lighting was really good. Again, nice use of color throughout and nice use of music throughout. Very nice script. I thought it hit the nail on the head with many of the lines, with the problems we have with our parents, the issues. Father and son, man, when they stared at the door at each other when the son was about to leave, and then his wife comes in before she died, and then he's like, ugh, gotta stay now. And when the wife goes in the room, and then the father and son are just standing there looking at each other, it was such a beautiful moment. So well directed across the board. Huge, kudos to the director as well. Just that scene though in particular, and the scene where they're kind of getting into it later on, I thought were really well done. Just great film, and you guys are going to do really well, and I'd love to see this as a full feature. Okay.
All right, I just finished watching The Muse, which I thought was an exceptionally well done film. It had a really full breadth of emotions within it, and had a really great sense of style, both in terms of the cinematography and in the score. I thought that almost every aspect of the storytelling had a really great sort of a latent sinister energy that sort of underlined what would be the later twist with the father, his sickness, and the fall of the son in respect to writing the book. And I thought that the themes around sort of being an artist with the pressures of your parents, and sort of at one point wanting to be an artist despite them, and sort of having the lead character later on having his art, I wanted to make his art for his father, and sort of having it be a function to create their bond after he's gone, as well as reflecting with the issues with Marcia, I believe, and their relationship, and how that ended up. I thought that the piece really had a great sense of sort of balancing sanity and insanity that really reflects the artistic journey. And I thought almost all of the technical aspects of the film, the acting in particular, really sort of carried an emotional weight that allowed you to follow along the piece towards the ending, which began to sort of blend realities and have you realize that certain aspects of what you thought were real or what had happened were not quite as they seemed. It was a very well done film, very cerebral, I thought, and very emotional, and allowed you to sort of feel this particular story while also projecting an idea to the individual viewer in terms of how they view their own relationship with their loved ones, their parents, their ambitions, career-wise and personal-wise. So I thought it was a really sort of full circle, emotional and psychological piece that worked very well in sort of establishing an emotional tenor and a tonal approach that really created a lasting impact. So it was quite well done in my opinion.
It was a very interesting film. I like the different levels of reality and the twists and turns that it takes, and it's interesting that we're doing a kind of Twilight Zone type of story, but at the same time doing, a story that has a real meaning about this guy trying to deal with the death of his wife and trying to deal with the relationship with his father. So, you know, the best part, the kind of the point of it really to me was when the wife says to him, don't do it to spite him, do it for me, you know. So talking about, you know, create as an act of love, not as an act of revenge. That's a good a statement to take with you. It's sad that, you know, it didn't really work out in real life like that for him, though. So I don't know. My hopes for this character is that he can work this out in his head, that it'll come out into his real life too. So, but you know, it gets you thinking. So that's a good thing. But yeah, no, the actors did a great job. Really well written, well directed, well shot, good score. So yeah, good job on this. You know, I hope it does well for you.
A muse, a tortured artist, a troubled relationship with a parent, multiple versions of love lost, the love of your life gone, the piece of you growing inside of her gone. This new chapter faded before his very eyes. His father terminally ill, grief, the writer's element of this notorious trait that we have, that we're on the brink of insanity, to not finish what we started. At times, you know, we find ourselves lost in our woes, our thoughts, our dreams, and we put words to describe how we feel, and we get lost in our fantasies. We build realities that don't actually exist. We've been given a secret from the Father in the beginning, and eventually we follow his Son throughout his journey. In the back of our minds, we know that this is going to be a lot harder for him in due time. And we watch him fall, even cut his meds cold turkey, which only causes more mental distress for this character. He holds on to his beloved's last words to finish this for me, and not to finish in spite of him. And he's challenged with this concept, for it's his perception of his relationship with this man. And when he finally comes to terms with this, his life is shattered once again. And that holiday dinner scene, it was the conversation he always wanted with his father, and it was a moment that he never received. And the moment his father looks over and speaks to Marcia, you're like, oh no, he's gone. And the way the camera, lighting, production design sets off the scene, switching from this surreal to the unreal reality, you know, this state of grief of this, what this state this person is living in. There's such a valid thing that when the first year is up, people kind of just expect you to move forward. It's like time struck out, and human thoughts and human emotions, they don't expire. We aren't aware when we will find a muse or find a strike of inspiration, but it's powerful to see someone take their pains and transform them into words, and it's quite beautiful.